Hello guys, it's the Inbox Collector here with yet another video review. Today I'm going to be reviewing every Marvel superheroes figure there is from 1990 right through to 1994. If you like this kind of content, please hit that like, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. With all that said, let's start with the first figure here, which isn't a Toy Biz figure. This is a Charin Captain America. Now I have done a lot of other videos and explained in depth about Charin because they were Charin before they were Toy Biz. So this is a very rare Canadian Charin Marvel superheroes Captain America, not even hole punched, in immaculate condition as you can see. Typical articulation, comes with a shield launcher. Here we can see all the cool sort of drawings on the back. These aren't actual action figure pictures like we would normally see. These are actually artist sketches, which are really cool. And we can see the training headquarters or training center there, and we can see some of the vehicles. I have never seen the red and blue dragster that we can see there, but we also get a write-up on the back as well of this Captain America. If you want to pause and read that, by all means do. Yeah, so I'm going to go through every single one of these inbox, of course, because I am the inbox collector, and you guys can hopefully get some nostalgia and enjoy some of this. Moving on then, we've got the Punisher with Cap firing weapons. Yes, this guy is fully loaded with 4 guns for any occasion. Interestingly enough, only one hand will hold a weapon, whereas in the drawing there we can see 2. And on the back, yes, remember paper caps? If you're a 90s kid, 80s kid, you'll remember paper caps. You load the paper caps in the back and he makes the sound of a gunfire, which is absolutely awesome. I have done a video review on this first series before, I appreciate that, so I am going to whiz through the first series a bit quicker, because I know some of you guys have probably already seen that, but for those of you who haven't, this is really cool. So there is the Punisher, Frank Castle. Next, moving on, we've got Dr. Ock. Sadly, this one's come away from the card. A lot different to the animated version. This is more what he resembled in the comics back in the day. This is Toy Biz's first one. He came with some suckers and some really cool tentacles, of course, being Doc Ock, and just is a great all-round figure, retro style and look to him. Yeah, and I'm just really glad that I'm able to show you this in this video, because he's a pretty cool interpretation. Sadly, come away from the box, however. Hey guys, I just wanted to interrupt today's review. I hope you're enjoying it. Just to tell you about another channel that you can check out by hitting the link in the description. I am now investing in Lego, and I've started this journey, and if you guys want to come along and see more of that, if that's your sort of thing, if that interests you, then please check out my other channel and think about subscribing and supporting me. I am going to be doing both channels, but yes, I've started doing investments into Lego, and I've also doing Lego reviews and that, and I appreciate they're both different things, Lego and action figure reviews, so I've started up that new channel. So if that's your sort of thing, hit that link, jump over and come and support me. I would really appreciate it. With all that said, let's jump back into this review. Next, we've got the Silver Surfer. Now this is quite a just plain sort of dull Silver Surfer, different to the chrome one, which I will show you later on, but nevertheless very cool, with an action surfboard, which has basically got wheels on the bottom, so you can, you know, that's like a gimmick, a Toy Biz gimmick. You guys know that I like to talk about these all the time. All the action figures had Toy Biz gimmicks, and this one was no different. The wheels on the bottom. I love the artwork on this, and that grey background with the comic book art. They've all got that. I should definitely mention it. Next, we've got the Hulk, and I reckon nearly every 90s kid probably had this figure at some point, and basically he's got a metal bar that you put in each hand, and there's a little sort of pull out tab on the back, and he bends the bar, which is absolutely amazing. He also comes with a giant boulder to hurl at people. A fantastic figure, definitely of his time. Of course, he's been made many times since. If we look on the back of this one as well, we can see Hornby are the distributors of this over here in the UK, and that sort of backs up what I've told you guys before, how Toy Biz would use Hornby, Tyco. Sometimes you would see Tyco on the actual box instead of Toy Biz, or in the case of that Captain America I showed you, see Charin, because Charin were more well known when Toy Biz first started out. So we see different names on boxes of action figures where depending on where they're distributed. Next we've got web suction hands Spider-Man. Really cool. Basic articulation, of course, just sort of shoulder movements and a bit of movement in the knees, but nevertheless it's really cool to have Spider-Man. Of course they did him again throughout the series of action figures. He's one of the most popular characters, but here he is, and here he is on the back of the box. Just really cool. Another one distributed by Hornby's. There's the write-up, guys. As always, pause and read them if that's what you need, you know, for your nostalgia fix. Next we've got the Daredevil Matt Murdock. Really cool. Really good action figure. Sadly this one's slightly yellowed. It's the thing with collecting these old action figures, it's difficult to get them in perfect condition. He doesn't come with his billy club, he comes with an extending grapple billy club, it says on the bottom of the box. You guys probably can't see it, which is a bit of a shame. I would have preferred to have seen just a billy club, but he comes with this cool grapple hook, which is still cool. Yes, so that is his gimmick, and there's the write-up on him. But it's just great that we got so many different action figures. Toy Biz really brought out a lot of these different characters. Next we've got Doctor Doom. Of course, he's been surpassed many a times. Toy Biz did a better version of him when they did the Fantastic Four animated action figures. He comes with like a drill sort of weapon and this spinning weapon, because his gimmick is his hand spins and you can spin the weapon around, which is really cool. Hey kids, collect them all. I've noticed that's a theme throughout these. It's almost like Stan Lee insisted that be put on there, but hey, it would have worked. I definitely would have pestered my parents to get as many of these as I could. Moving on then to the next series, which is 1991. We've got the Green Goblin. Look at the artwork. Isn't that just absolutely amazing? We can see there's a change in the card already from the other ones. He comes with his glider and he throws, of course, pumpkin bombs. This is as retro as it gets when it comes to colours. This is absolutely amazing. This is really got that like vintage look to it. I hope you'll agree. Let me know in the comments. Definitely one of my favourite villains. Yes, hurling pumpkin bombs, Green Goblin. It's just absolutely amazing. There's a nice write-up there if you guys can see that if you're watching on a big screen. But yeah, a great one to have in your collection. And this one is now demonstrating the Marvel Superheroes Training Center, which I sadly don't have, but you could probably find a YouTube review on that from somewhere. And of course we've got the Spider-Man attack tower, which is really cool. We can see the web suction Spider-Man there. We've got the Spider-Man costume accessory playset, Captain America costume accessory, the Punisher van, an absolute grail in terms of collecting. We've got the Turbo Coupe, and of course the Hulk Rage Cage, the very first one. They did several throughout the years, different ones, and right up through into the 90s, late 90s. There's been several versions of that Hulk Rage Cage. Next, moving on, we've got Thor, and this is definitely one where the artwork is far better than the figure. That artwork is absolutely amazing. I hope you'll agree. But the figure not as good, but hey, it's got its charm and it's of its time. Now this one's the one with the longer hammer. I do not have the other one which had a shorter hammer, and this one obviously comes with a thunderbolt. I'm not sure if there was another difference, like a mechanism on the back of the one with a shorter hammer, or if it was just the same, it just came with a shorter hammer. But I do know of his existence, but sadly I don't have it. But there you are, you can throw his hammer. This is the Thor action figure. I'm really glad I've got it to be able to show you guys. And there's of course a big write-up on him as well. And of course we can see this card change. These were all the 1991 ones. The previous ones were 1990s, and now we're getting pictures of the actual action figures on the back rather than artwork, and you know, you can sort of see the changes as we go through. Next we get new action Marvel superheroes with real machine gun sounds. So I'm guessing the times were changing, and they changed this one for a battery pack, not like the one from the Talking figures that I've done before where you can take the backpack off. This one is built in and it makes machine gun sounds because I guess the times were changing and maybe parents didn't approve of this cap firing off every few seconds. I'm sure it was pretty loud. Never tested it because I've never taken mine out of the box, of course. There's a write-up. So this is like a new and improved Punisher from back in the day, and it's definitely more difficult to find than the actual cap one. I've noticed it took me quite a while to get this one in my collection. Next we've got the living skin slime Venom. Look at this, slime paws, and this looks exactly like the Venom with the talking backpack, only they've drilled a hole right through the center. It's got a giant spider in the back of there, like a grey spider, which would squirt slime out, and I can actually see where it's dried out in the bottom of the box. Sadly the bubble's a bit damaged there, but there's the idea. He would actually squirt out venom slime from his symbiote. That's just absolutely amazing idea, a great gimmick. But there is a warning on the back to parents that this stuff will cause damage to hair, to sides, to wood furnishings and all kinds of things, and I'm sure it didn't go down all that well, but it does state they're non-toxic. But obviously there was an issue where it would stain. I'm guessing they must have put some sort of dye in there. Nevertheless, this is a bit of toy history right now, which is really cool. Next we've got the very first Toy Biz Iron Man with quick change armor, which is done differently to the animated version Iron Man, because there's not little pins and that, they sort of just clips on, which is really cool. And we can see Tony Stark there before he puts his Iron Man helmet on. Love the artwork again, absolutely fantastic. This is a very desirable one and very difficult to find. If you see this one, you need it for your collection, I would definitely say pick it up. Definitely goes for quite a bit on the second market, but I'm not going to go over prices today. Look, he's got his chest there, no arc reactor, but it's just kind of funny. I just sort of take his chest, his armor off, and you can just see his chest. But there you go, that's the gimmick, and then you can put his armor on him. Very cool. Absolutely love this one, it's really good. Next we've got another Venom, but this one squirts water. Now my guess is they decided to change it through complaints, or maybe it was cheaper, but they completely changed it, and now it's just a red plunger that squirts water out through the back. No chance of staying in there. The card on the back is changed as well, so I think at some point they changed it in between that series from 1991 to the 1992 series, because we see all the 1992 series figures on the back. So definitely something happened there where this got changed to this one. This one is not as valuable as the previous one, but they're both pretty rare to find. It just depends at the time when you look, like anything. But yeah, again, it's just really cool to have it, and this is the only one with this kind of card back from this series of figures. So it's almost like they rushed it out and just went, oh, I'll just use that card back. He's not actually advertised anywhere as such on this card back, so he's like I guess you could say a chaser, if you like. Next we've got Silver Surfer. Now we can see the card has changed on the front. We've got a JPEG now, and we've got Cosmic Defender there. We've got a picture up in the top like a comic book, and this one is the same figure but done in a completely chrome finished paintwork, which is really cool. And again, the same sort of gimmick on the surfboard, because it is essentially the same action figure but done in this super silver chrome paint, which sadly if you bashed about would of course peel and flake and fade. But this one is in box, so he's as good as new, and we get a right up there and we get a little bit showing us that gimmick, which is pretty awesome. And we can see all the other figures there, and you can see a line if you look between the two sets of figures. So I'm guessing the first wave came out. There's that talking Punisher there, with the removable backpack, which is different to the one I've shown you in this review. But there you are, there is the Silver Surfer. Next we get Flicking Tongue Venom. So basically there's a button on the back. He's got this cool sort of chest piece as well, which you can pop on. Not really sure why he's got that, because if you take it off he still looks cool without it. But yes, the gimmick to this one is basically he flicks, there's a button on the back and then his tongue flicks out, which is really cool, you have to admit. Of course, they did do Venom again later on for the Spider-Man animated series, but this is the 1992 version. You can just about see on my camera, it's not the best, but you'll see the red button at the back there. And there is tongue flicking Venom. Next, we get this absolute amazing Deathlock with a really cool gimmick. This is really detailed, this figure. Sadly, it's slightly yellowed, but yeah, awesome. It comes with this really cool weapon, like a gun, which is sort of attached to him through a pipe. But yeah, look at this, proper 90s. You can remove part of his head to reveal his brain. Absolutely love that they did Deathlock all the way back in the very early 90s. Not a character I was overly familiar with back then as a kid, but yeah, absolutely amazing cyborg character. And of course we know a lot more about him now, and he's even been in the Shield, the TV series, so it's just, yeah, really cool. Next we get enemy tracking Spider-Man. Now this is really awesome because you can fire this tracker out of Spider-Man, and I remember from the very early Spider-Man animations used to use a tracker very much similar to this. And of course in the 90s new animated Spider-Man cartoon back then, he would throw trackers on as well, so this definitely holds up. He definitely did used to put spider trackers on people, and I just think that's a really cool gimmick. Not the greatest of articulation, unlike the next Spider-Man, which is the first ever multi-jointed action, and this is probably one of the most dearest as well, or it's definitely one of the most hardest to find, so it can cost a bit of a premium on the second market. But this is the multi-jointed Spider-Man. This is the metal rivet one because it's a very early one. The 90s version from the animated series, you didn't see those metal rivets and stuff, but look at this. We could actually pose Spider-Man in all kinds of different poses because he's got 15 points of articulation, which is absolutely crazy for back in the day because action figures really didn't have that many points of articulation. Next we get the Thing. This is absolutely amazing, completely different to the Fantastic Four animated sort of figure version. This is the very first one, comes with Yancey Street on that lamppost. Absolutely amazing, love the artwork. It's just, well, it's fantastic, no pun intended, but it is. And you can basically break that in half, which is absolutely amazing. So there is the Thing, and there's the write-up on the Thing. And I think these came out the second part of the year in 1992, this one onwards. Next, we've got a really nice Human Torch, Johnny Storm. It is just block red. There's some texture to the figure, but then we've got this really nice bright yellow flames, which all sort of are molded and coming out of him. It's a really good action figure for back in the day, the Human Torch, and it launches these fireballs, which are absolutely amazing. You sort of put them in his hand and he'll throw them, which is really cool. And you get 3 of them in case you lose 1 or 2. You've always got backups. I really like that about this action figure. Yeah, just really good. Don't see him too often, to be honest. I am always on the lookout, but he doesn't come up very often. Next we've got the very first ever Annihilus. Check it out, Annihilus. We got so many great characters back in the day, and again I just think the colours on Annihilus, the greens and the purples, similar to how Green Goblin looks. It's just got that retro look. The artwork's awesome. Yeah, they just got that really retro look now. You can instantly see these are retro action figures just by looking at a picture of them. And he's got wing flapping action, of course. What else are you going to give him? Probably very similar to the Archangel X-Men figure, I'd imagine. They probably copied that idea over onto that figure. Next we get Mr. Fantastic, of course, Reed Richards. And basically I love this figure because it's similar to the Apocalypse from the X-Men, or that one's similar to this, should I say, where you can extend his arms and his legs, and look, over 50% larger. I just like this. On that Fantastic Four action figure they did for the animated series, they gave him like rubbery arms. I wish they just stuck to this design with the telescopic hands and stuff. It's just really cool. You can sort of see, if you, I don't know if the camera pick it up, but you can see where his sort of arms will extend. And he comes with some sort of, excuse me, he comes with some sort of either gun or ray or something there that he's concocted, which is really cool. Yeah, I just really like this figure. It's actually a really good representation of him. Now this figure is extremely difficult to find, and sadly this one was left out in the sun and it's got slightly damaged. They used a very special paint. A lot of people try to say, or the rumor is, that this was carcinogenic and so they changed it. I don't think so. I think it was probably quite expensive to produce at the time, and she probably wasn't the most popular of the action figures, because back then they just used to sit on the pegs a little bit. But this one is pretty difficult to find because she is the one that if you dip her in warm water, she literally changes colour as if she's invisible, and then when you put her back in code, her colour comes back. Sadly this one is slightly damaged where it was left out in the sun, and that sort of paint has reacted with the sun. I mean, it may be carcinogenic, who knows, but she's in the box. I'm very happy that we've got her. She's very rare, and they did replace her, and I'll show you that example of her in a minute where they replaced her with a different version, but nowhere near as good as this one. And I don't think for Toy Biz she was all that bad of an interpretation of the character, to be fair. Next we move on to the 1994, so it's like a year's difference between the 1992 and 1993, and we get a repainted Captain America. You can see the star under his chest, but this one of course is US Agent, which is really cool. Of course they've repainted the shield, but it's still the same launcher. It's exactly the same figure, and these are just repaints and the same figures brought out and given like new characters. And we can see the boxes changed on the back there as well. So there is US Agent. Then we get a repainted Daredevil, and even the grapple hook isn't black this time, it's done in silver. But nevertheless, I'm guessing this may have resembled more what he looked like in the comics at the time. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a possibility, because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that may have been at the time he was wearing a different costume, because this almost looks like armoured sort of Daredevil, if you like. But yes, he comes with the same grapple hook. It is the same figure essentially, but with a repaint. All of these were 1994. Next we get another, and this is far more common, this one, and it looks no different to that other figure, but it doesn't have that magic paint, which is such a shame. Instead it comes with a catapult launcher, and if you look you can see an X there. That's the same catapult launcher they used on Cannonball from the X-Men Toy Biz line. So that's just an interesting fact. Obviously his wasn't like, you know, clear plastic like this one is, but you can see that X there. And yeah, just this one you find her quite often, and is pretty common. Whereas the one with the colour painting change, that's the one that you really want to try and find if you can find it, because it's just so much more difficult to find. But nevertheless, this is pretty cool. They obviously didn't want to spend the money on that colour changing paint, or maybe it was carcinogenic, who knows, we will never really know. I'm certainly not planning on finding out. I don't have this Spider-Man. I think I better mention that now, because it's exactly the same Spider-Man as what I've already shown you, but they just re-released him in this series of figures here. Next we get the Punisher again. This one has no cap firing, no sound box on the back, but he does have a really cool trench coat, even if it is just a plastic one. Look at that, $3.99 back in the day when action figures were affordable. You've probably heard me say that many a time, but essentially it's the same sort of action figure, just without that the gimmicks of the noise boxes or the cap firing, and he comes with a cool trench coat, which is really cool. Yes, the Punisher, the last figure basically in this series of figures, because they only brought out these 5, and that was it. That was all of the Marvel superhero figures, which is a shame. But then they started, you know, we were well underway then with the X-Men action figures, and we all know what happened with all the other Toy Biz figures. Now there is of course the Grail, which is the Punisher van. They used the same van as they used for the Joker line, but this is just so much better. All in black with these stickers. The Punisher, look, he comes out the top with a gun. It's got a back trailer. It's got hubcaps that come out. It's just absolutely amazing and so rare, and I have reviewed this before. I think it was one of the first ever reviews. If you want to go back and check it out on my channel, look at that, drop down machine guns at the front. This has got a faux arsenal, the back doors are filled with weapons. This is just what a toy to have had back in the day, and I never had it back in the day, to be honest with you, but I can imagine what it must have been like. This must have been so cool. Punisher rocking up with all his guns, taking on the villains. Just a one-man army. I absolutely love this Punisher van. It's absolutely amazing. Look at that, the trailer on the back. It's just, like I say, a one-man army with his van. It's definitely one of my favourite characters. Next, we've got the Marvel Superheroes Turbo Coupe. This is a really cool toy as well. So it's a really nice looking turbo coupe, and basically you can then pull out, it's got a shield that you push the red button on the top and the shield pops out, but you can also take Cap out if his turbo coupe gets blown up or something like that, and basically take him out, and you can move him along. If you're enjoying this today, guys, please hit that like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos. I would really appreciate it. Next, we've got the Dragster Racer, all in red. It's got a spinning top on it. It's really just an awesome thing. I mean, Spider-Man in vehicles, naive view, I don't really, it's just a gimmick thing, let's be honest. But yes, he could basically spin that top up, and he had a bit that pulled out the front, which then would pull the vehicle along and get him out of difficult situations, which I think is awesome as well. There is the Drag Racer, all in red, not that red and blue one, and I wonder, I've never seen that red and blue one. Let me know in the comments if you ever have. So there you are, guys. That is everything they've ever done for the Marvel superhero line. A great line of action figures. I hope it's given you a bit of nostalgia and took you down, memory lane. As always, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching these videos. I do really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, good luck searching for that toy gold.